Hi, I'm Alicia Main. I help animals heal their behavior, health, and end-of-life issues naturally. And I assist them in helping their humans heal their hearts. I am the animal healer. Oh, and did I mention, I'm not usually in the room, state, or country that they're located in when we do our sessions. Join me weekly for Animal Healer TV Live as we explore quantum reality and learn just what's possible in helping animals and humans heal their behaviors, health, and hearts through the quantum energy field. Hey guys, it's Alicia Main, the Animal Healer, and I'm so flippin' excited. We are doing a session today with Mr. Chance. He's like, oh, here I am. And Chance's dad happens to be none other than the Warwick Schiller. So Warwick and I are going to play in the quantum field today. I'm going to do an instinct body assessment and muscle release. I know nothing about Chance except his name is Chance and he's 4 years old. We're going to see how he responds. Warwick and I at least 1,250 miles away from each other. I have never met this horse. I have never seen this horse. I know nothing about him. Warwick will inform me afterwards about, who he is and what issues he might be having. So we're going to see what Chance has to say. All right. So I'm going to get started with putting my thumbs right at the top of his nostrils, right on the inside line where his nose bone is. He just kind of looked over. He's like, feel that?
Yeah, that was actually quite good because we had a baseline, like he was standing in one spot looking in a certain direction.
Right.
And he had been doing it for a little bit, and then he had a big lick and chew right then. Like one ear moved, and he's like, what? And then he turned and looked at us.
He's like, she's touching me.
There's a big yawn right there. He's been in this round pen for half an hour, has not yawned once. He hasn't licked and chewed once since he's been here either.
All right, so got his nostril point. So he's got a little fascia stuck. I almost feel like, all right, so what he's bringing through to me is also his personality. Chance says, he's like, I am an extraordinarily talented horse. He's saying to me, he's saying this very humbly. He's not saying this as like arrogance, but he's like, I'm a one of a kind. So he's got a good awareness of himself. He said, but I also understand I'm still in the space of maturing. He's like, but I am a very, very grounded horse, and I'm taking Warwick on a different journey than any of his other horses. Does any of that make sense?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So Chance also says, hey, I was a little bugger up until the time I was 2. He said, I had a lot of fun running around, and he said, I had a couple places where I can't tell whether he like banged into something, not because anything bad happened on the human side. Like he was just playing around, and I feel like just from that part on his nose, I was like, you smacked your face on something. So as I go through, I'm going to be releasing fascia where he shows me that it's tight. So he gets more awareness, and he's telling me a little bit the front of his face. He's like, I did bang myself at some point. And like I said, it wasn't human induced. He just was playing and he was like yipping around, and he said, I smacked my face. So I don't know if that was seen or not seen. Even though you couldn't physically see it, if you looked at him, the fascia is a little bit tight for him. So that's why he started with the yawning. So I'm 2 inches above where I was when I started on his nostrils, and he's asking me to just hold my fingers there. He's like, I'm releasing more. And he's also showing me he's got something with his mouth. I almost feel like his palate is pushed upward, like it's been stuck upward a little bit. So he's like, will you help me release that? And I'm like, sure.
So he just had a big release and like shook his head, licked and chewed and lowered it right then.
So one of the things too, he says he realized like from 2 years old on, he's like, I have a pretty big purpose and a pretty big job on this planet. Now we're going to go to the nose band. So on the nose band, we got a little bit of a tweaking back on the right, pulled towards his jaw a little bit. And on the left, it's fine, but I'm going to release that. And he said, and he's got way more yawning to do because I haven't even dropped his palate yet. But this is the kind of stuff, right? So now we got that clear, and the energy is starting to shift in that right side of his nose just a little bit, like where the nose band would be, and just a little bit up. But it's starting to drain a little bit. And that's really what it was. When I said below. I was like, it feels a little swollen. It wasn't swollen because he's got an issue. It just was swollen because the energy was still stuck and trapped in there. But it's all dropping now and releasing. Okay, so now I'm between his nose band and his eyes. And he said I'm a little restricted on the left. Now my thumbs would be basically in the corner of his eyes into the midline of the body. So the left eye in the corner, it's a little tighter and a little pulled up, and the right eye in the corner, and I'm talking the fascia, and then we're talking the eye itself is totally fine. He said, I see fine. But when fascia gets torqued a little bit, it can start to pull on the muscles and the ligament and the tendons behind it. And those are unfortunately the things we can't see or test for, but these are the things we want to know, because honestly, like if a horse can feel a fly 12 inches off its body, and if Chance can feel me at over 1,250 miles away, never having touched him and having no idea who I am, that's pretty incredibly sensitive, right? For most of what people do on horses and say, well, they're big animals. I'm like, yeah, but this is how sensitive they are. And then the inside part of the left eye and then down the channel of the nose is also starting to drain. And when I say drain, the energy is draining. Energy is what we are before we're physical. The energy makes up our physicality. All right, so that's relaxing underneath his eye and going all the way up into his TMJ. All right, now I'm going to go up to like his eyebrow points, which would be the same as our eyebrow points, to check that, to see if there's anything stuck. And what's also happening, as that left eye and that left side is opening, that right cheek and that right side of his face is also opening even more. So it feels like whatever had happened or whatever he experienced, which caused kind of like a little bit of dents. You know, we can't see them because they're on the inside in the fascia, but that's all opening up. So his face is starting to feel way more uniform for me. And he was getting pulled on the right eye at the outside corner. There was like a little bit of a pulling back of the eye because there was still a little bit of tension in there. And that's actually starting to release, he says. And I'm going to go up to his forehead. Forehead points are fine. Now I'm going to come up to the front of his ears and just check there. So the right side there is compressed down a little bit. So I'm just going to release that tension for him. And you see the blinking going on?
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to call out any of that. And also too, you're sensitive to energy shifting. So also if you land up like, well, I didn't see anything physically, but I felt the energy shift, let me know.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to come up to his hole. So what do we got going on there, kid? All right, he said I'm dropped down a little bit, a little compressed just on my right side. So we're going to release that for him. We're going to release the fascia there. Did you see that? Just very subtle, like, yes.
Just little head bob right there.
Dude, you are so adorable and so brilliant.
Just had a big lick and chew and rolled his third eyelid back right then.
Fabulous. Okay.
And like I said, you know, we watched him for half an hour before started anything, and he didn't lick and chew, yawn, roll his eyelid, roll his third eyelid back, any of that stuff.
Awesome. Okay, so his whole head is getting adjusted. Okay, so now we're going to go to his occiput. So the occiput on the left is stuck a little bit upward. The right one is pushed down a little bit. So we're going to release that. And this is occiput straight. Oh, he's like, hold your thumb on my left occiput. I'm like, okay, the left side of my occiput. He's so cute. He goes, are we done? I was like, yes, we are done. Do what you need to do for you. So again, he's a really pretty mellow horse. What have you sensed from him through this? And now you could tell me anything you want about him, because I want to see, according to what his body says, what are the things that you know about him that could correlate to what he released?
Well, probably the one thing he's always been a little bit tight about is, like, especially when I first started saddling him, but then again recently too, is he gets tight about moving out when there's with the girth pressure, like he can kind of tighten up in his body, you know. And when you said about his back legs kind of getting stuck, and and you said, "Is that sound right?" And I'm like, and I thought about it. I said, let's say, you know, I think that would be related.
Yeah, and remember what we said about the left front shoulder and behind the tricep?
Yeah,
and that left front was a little tighter. So So that could also relate to when the girth gets tight and he's like, oh, all right, you want to get on my body now. There were numerous places where he was out. And especially if that palate was stuck up at the top a little bit, he's not going to have as much access, right, to the totality of his body. So
still releasing stuff now, like he's crushing his jaw and rolling his third eyelid back.
awesome. So given nobody's on him, it's not a big deal. But then the thing comes like, oh, I'm on you. And remember, what are you going to say to the doctor? Like, he's not lame anywhere, right? But to go through his body like this and see all the places where he was aware of what was happening with him is going to be very interesting to see. And I'd give him like a day or two. You know, you can work him, you can move him, but I wouldn't get on his back. So based on what you were observing, based on knowing your horse, was your horse feeling the assessment and the releases?
Yeah, I'd say they were all pretty much what you'd say you were doing. All the releases came in time with that, and also the releases weren't there before you start. You know, like I said, we sat here and watched him for a while, and he wandered around. We kind of had a baseline to where we put him in here long enough to where he, you know, was comfortable. Not that he's ever uncomfortable in this area, but...
So the biggest thing with him, because he's not like a big issue horse, you know, and he doesn't have a lot of trauma. He had things that were out, but from kid to now, because this is kind of like basically like an energetic, I don't want to say it's a chiropractic adjustment because I'm not working the bones. I'm releasing the fascia by the bones. And when the fascia releases, the bones seem to settle back into place. How was the quantum experience for you?
It's amazing. I've got, not that I've got questions. Well, I do have a question. Like, is there anything else he wants to tell you?
Okay, so Chance is going to be this incredible blend. Words are the last thing for the horse. Our breath and being fully embodied in our body, that's the biggest thing that matters for horse. That's what they want. So it's not a pressure. He's like, this is a really cool part of our journey on together now. And he just kind of like, are you willing to go there with him?
I'd say that's a yes. Yes. Yes, from Judge A.
So the first thing we did, right, was work on the body.
Mm-hmm.
And so the body showed us certain things, but the body allowed us to drop into, hey, this 360, this 5D reality, like, it's here now. We are the ones that have separated from it, but Chance is always in communion with it. And he's asking you to be, he'll be your practice, right? For, hey, this 5D thing, like I thought it was going to be really scary to go out of my mind, or like I'm going to go crazy, but it's like, we don't. We just actually have way more information than we had access to because we're only taught the information comes from the book or it comes from the other person that's telling us versus, whoa, what is our inner embodied knowing? What information is actually coming through us like a channel, right? That invisible quantum knows everything. It's like a quantum encyclopedia. We can receive information from anywhere at any time. That's the beauty of it. Even if we don't know, it's like I might not have ever read a book on it. How do I know? Because I know. Because I'm connected to the quantum. So it's always...
Thanks for watching today's episode of Animal Healer TV. We hope you enjoyed it. We love to hear your feedback on what you learned about yourselves and your animals. We'd also love to hear what issues are you dealing with that you'd most like to see on the show. If you'd like to participate in an episode, please see the link below and share with us the issues that you're having with your animals. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and Insta, and please feel free to share with your friends. Join us next week for another episode of Animal Healer TV, where we will explore quantum reality and see what else is possible in helping animals and humans heal their behaviors, their health, and each other's hearts.